Welcome to this scene of the Deaths of the Dark Crusades. This particular scene takes place in a rather beautiful uh, shop in the Merchant District. It is the store of Nagasi. He is a purveyor of many things: jewelry, spices, furs. If there is something of value that someone wants, he certainly tries his best to provide only the best. He is currently within the store, uh, counting money, making sure that his taxes and such are paid correctly. And it's at this store where this scene takes place.
Um, through this point, there will be footsteps passing the threshold of the shop, and as Agashi would possibly turn around, he'll see a young man that he met not moments ago, but days ago in Elysium. He looks around the shop, surveying the wares, but continuing the pushing forward um, to a counter, and just calmly and slowly starts knocking on the counter to get your attention if you have not turned around.
Mm. Oh, hello, my friend. Welcome to my shop. I hope that you find things that you need, of course. Please have a look around. You might find something you might like.
Yeah. Uh, he nods his head and kind of looks at the. I'm assuming what's on display is a mixture probably of pottery, paintings, and maybe fine jewelry.
Yes, you also see uh, these rather kind of glass contained bags, and they have the Arabic and English or French words for spices, and they have various spices. There's cinnamons, there are thyme, there's many different style of spices and such. Even hashish is being sold within his establishment.
He goes particularly around the pottery and glassware. Then looks over to the man. I need some, unfortunately, cheap masonry for a job I'm going to be working on.
Oh, I see. I see. Nagasi does not have such things out here in the public. But come with me. I will find you something that I feel would be appropriate for you.
So he nods and begins to follow the man.
You kind of the both of them move uh, through a kind of a curtained door, and you go down a small flight of stairs. And he opens a door, and you see what looks to be it's a very small uh, kind of area that he is. There are various types of weaponry and kind of leather made items that he has on display. I get my resources from a very reputable smith. He and I he makes some of the best masonries and what have you that you can find. And of course, Nagasi sells them at only the best prices.
He he nods, and he'll go under his cloak and bring out what's looks like it's nothing too decorative, but it's a little bit of an odd-looking dagger, possibly to Nagasi. Out of character, it's a sword-breaking dagger.
Mm. As Nagasi sees the strange-looking dagger, he takes it in his hands. Very, very nice craftsmanship upon this item. And what exactly is it that you need to be done to it? Is it simply to sharpen, or?
So recently, I was trying to use it, and I think and he shows off where an area goes curved and looks like an opening or a latch. Because I don't think this was reinforced properly enough. I wasn't able to use it to its fullest. Can you do that for me? Of course, for a proper price.
Nagasi, as he again looks over the particular item, yes, I think I can make something, repair or what have you with such an item. It is, how would you say it? He kind of coughs a bit, or pretends to cough, as Kindred do. No, yes, I can make something of this. Yes, and do not worry about the price. Consider it on the house.
And Garland nods. Says, also, if you do have some cheap masonry, pots, glasses, maybe, if for some reason you may be into farming, caltrops.
Nagasi kind of rubs his chin as he kind of leads you towards a kind of a small table, and on it you see various, very much how you would consider cheap masonry. There is some glasses, kind of vials that you could put in perfumes in, very cheap looking ones, not ornate. You see kind of clay jars that people can put things in, drink wise or what have you. You see some small caltrops, as you mentioned. These you can get for a decent price, though they are not as good as the ones up front, but for certain people it is all they can afford, and Nagasi would not turn away someone who needs an item.
Yeah. He nods at this. Garland will bring out a leather pouch, and it's completely empty. He says, I don't think you're the man to know this type of sensation, but have you ever had powdered clay in the eyes? As far as I heard from people, it's rather painful.
No, I have not. But where I come from, we used to dip. We used to dip our arrows in a particular poison. And one of the first things it would do is it would damage the eyes, even if it was just a nick. Saw many men who were hit with such arrows become like children who have need of mother. And such, that is how we were able to defend ourselves.
If only that was more convenient to us now. And he goes over to the pots.
Yes, please. And I have to return to the front in case of another customer. But please, do not hesitate to call me or to ask one of an assistant. I will gladly send one down. And he kind of returns to the front area where another person is waiting, it seems.
Yes, another man has entered into the shop. flanked by very large Turk. The man who stands actually in the shop, the one Nagasi met several nights ago, a camel merchant, possibly a Moor from distant lands, but he claims to have grown up in Turkey itself. Crazy Hassan, as many call him. Not the nicest title, but one that it seems that he takes in stride. Very well-known camel merchant. Many call him Crazy Hassan because they just say he is a madman, but somehow always gets the right deals for everyone. And he is standing there with he's wearing both a turban and a small fez hat. That is you can see that the turban sort of wraps over the fez, and you see the pommel of it like hanging down over. And he's wearing these very not too ostentatious, but very nice orange cloak and a pair of sandals. Side there is a shamshir, a scimitar of some description. The man standing next to him is a very large individual, at least a foot taller than Hassan. He looks Turkish, local, some sort of bodyguard possibly, but you're unsure. And as he enters, out of character, Hassan is basically been, well, actually in character, he has been staring at all of the different oddities and wares that you have in here. But right when he notices you, he kind of just he doesn't greet you immediately. He's not like, he doesn't have that maddening that he's not like yelling out in that maddening voice. He's just very calmly watching you and looking at you. And I will roll because he is trying to read the soul of Nagasi, see who this man is. What is he thinking? What is, basically, as Hassan puts it, how would this man think of him? Which dice roll are we using? 1, 2, 3?
Just use one.
All right. I think that is 2, 3, 4. 4 dice. All right. -R. And let me check. I have the page up for the rules on this. It's a difficulty 8. So I'm going to need to roll. Let's see here. Come on. Where's Discord? There it is. R 4d10. One success. I can not sadly determine the emotion. I can determine the main shade of your aura, as it were, of your soul. And immediately I have determined that you are one of the blooded.
Mm-hmm.
Right when you noticed, all of a sudden you see Hassan say, "Oh, good evening to you, good Nagasi. It is good to see you again. Do you remember me?"
As you speak out, Nagasi turns to see you and he smiles rather widely. Yes, Hassan, please. And he kind of embraces you. He kind of gives you a kiss upon the cheek. My friend, please, come. There is...
Amir, please, could you wait outside, Amir? Yes, yes, my friend. And the very large bodyguard-looking man just sort of saunters outside. And at that point, are you leading Hassan somewhere, or are you staying in the same room?
He's kind of leading him towards kind of like a private room. Please, come. Do you want to have some coffee? Particularly good coffee I have.
Coffee.
Yes.
So. He just sort of looks at you for just a moment, smiling, slightly coyly, and says, "So it would, seem you too have the ability."
As you say that, he kind of chuckles a bit. uh, perhaps, but perhaps not. It is always an interesting thing to see how one handles such things. Besides, one does not talk business with a friend without some sort of drink. Please, please, come. And he kind of promptly kind of leads you towards a private room. There are nice kind of comfy kind of pillows. There is Persian style rugs upon the floor, and you can smell a hint of it's essentially kind of a spicy incense that is kind of burning rather slowly. It's filling up the fills up the room. It's a very quite invigorating smell.
Smells wonderful in here, Nagasi. I do apologize for my wording, but I did not know one of the other blooded like you would had that ability to drink such things. I find another.
Well, he just kind of chuckles a bit as he kind of shuts the door. Well, my friend, everyone is full of surprises in their own ways. But I am quite happy that you have come and looked at my wares. I hope that everything was to your liking.
Oh, very much so. It is a beautiful shop, I must say. Actually, having sturdy walls instead of just tent flaps, it's very strange, actually. I've lived most of my existence in a tent. Here. Not have to worrying about storms as much in the building bazaar.
No, that is very true. The only times of which I had to wield a tent was during my rites of passage when I was a young man, and I had to leave off the land and learn how to fend for myself. But because of it,
Very interesting.
He nods. But because of it, I have become a much more poignant man.
I can tell. Anything interesting been happening recently?
He, as he kind of makes the tea, you can see him pouring what looks to be. It's a liquid that you know fairly well. It is the liquid of blood into the kind of ornate coffee-like mug, if you will, as he lets it slowly kind of cook over a protected fire within the room. Well, from what has been going around from my own clan, there is some sort of plague bearer within Edessa.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Plague bearer.
At least that's what they reported to the prince and the sheriff. There is, I must say, it is quite frightening to know that such a person could be within the city to spread foul disease, especially among us. It is much more concerning.
I asked, do they know his clan? He is not Bayat Mosharid, is he?
No, from what I have heard, no. Though,
Good. I want to make sure because, well, I could have brought him into the meeting, here with me. He is Bayat Mosharid, what Westerners call Nosferatu. He is well versed in obfuscations. That is why he looked that way. I just wanted to make sure no accusations against him would have been coming up.
I am fairly certain that if there was any sort of accusation, your friend would have already been brought to be questioned. So I believe it is not his. It is not his doing
Good.
of such a thing.
Good.
The rumors that I have heard is that an abandoned home is where this plague bear is said to have hidden. Though that is to say, there are no guarantees that this person is still within the city. I hope
True.
for all intents and purposes that this person is found quickly, so that any sort of contamination can be prevented, not just for our own sake, but those of the kind.
humans.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm worried about them now.
As
I already have to worry about the religious quandaries between them. Now disease getting mixed into that, accusations would start flying between each of them. I've seen it happen before. A small disease spreads, suddenly you have the Jews getting all the blame hafted upon them, or the Christians screaming that it is because of their heretical religions. It's what the humans do. They fight over these things.
he simply nods. Of that, there is no doubt of what it is that humans will do. They constantly find someone to blame for such problems, but never themselves.
Never themselves.
It is
It's hard to follow the road of humanity sometimes when when they do such evil things. We live in an era of robber barons and rapist priests and all sorts of horrific things. I sometimes look upon it all and think, what's the point? And I remember, if I just fall from my road, I'm no better than those robber barons and murderers.
He nods at this. Indeed, my friend, indeed. There are. He kind of chuckles a bit. The Ventro, in particular, or robber barons, by any other name.
Clan is not what I do not judge based upon clan. No, I'd like. Can you guess my clan?
Nagasi kind of looks you over rather intently. He kind of, you can see him actually using some of the blood to kind of take in kind of a whiff near your direction. He, again, kind of strokes his chin beard, and he goes, "Rose, you smell of the rose. Rather poignant smell, sweet and alluring. But yet there is also the smell of prickliness, of the thorn. Beautiful, but one should never touch without proper handling."
Very good. I am a Reina fan. Toreador, as some have called me recently. Silly word, really. Why is it that the Westerners like to use that one? Either way, I would have thought you would say Malkavian for a second, but you're one of the first to guess correctly.
Uh, the reason for this, my friend, is because for the Malkavians, well, the Malkavians, when it comes to their wit, are sometimes the ones that go over your head. Whereas,
True.
whereas with those like us, we work on an even playing field. If
Yes.
ever.
I just put on a show. I put on simply a show for the humans and all of them. Well, I will say at the same time, not all of my madness is a show. And I accept that fact. I am crazy. I got the moniker for a reason.
Yes, but unlike the Malkavians, those of the mirror, their madness more often than not leads them to troublesome ways. Whereas with yours,
Oh, mine has led. Do not be fooled. My madness has led me to very troublesome ways in the past. From certain, well, problems in my humors where the black bile will rise very strongly, especially when I see animals being harmed in any such way, caused by this sort of sight. I cannot control it. I go mad, angry. I've never killed anyone in such a frenzy, but I have come close. Once I saw a man flogging his own horse for simply tripping and knocking him off, and I nearly pulled out my my safe and began hitting him with it. But my good friend Damir was able to hold me back. He is very strong, I will say. Mushari Dar. But yes, I am crazy. No matter what. Some of my own clan don't like me for that reason. The hell with them, I say.
and Nagasi simply, as he kind of gives you the coffee, it has finally been brewed. He stirs it before a cup, and he gives it to you.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes,
I've not had coffee in a very long time.
when it comes to those of the blood of your clan, well, it is much like family, I would suppose. You cannot pick your family, no matter how much they may annoy you.
Oh, yes, and I have met many of my own that if I was a more violent man, I would punch them for the way they acted. Cloying children, and also they cannot understand true art, as I put it. They would actually. I've been to many lands in the 138 years I have walked these realms. I have seen my own kin fighting over reasons of art. And just because one does not respect the other's art, kill each other for that reason. It is incredibly silly as I see it. Pointless, too. I've even seen my own kind burning sea because it is false idols to gods that should not be worshipped anymore. It's still a caution. I see art as a cautionary tale, especially religious art. It's a sort of thing where we should look at it with both awe and fear for the ruin and.
Well, when it comes to such ideas of art, Perhaps you are too far within the future. Perhaps such ideology within that format would be more accepted. I, for one, I see art as what many people see. It is simply beautiful to look at, and it is used for your status. That is how I have seen most nobility with their artworks and their jewelries. I sell them these items because I wish to continue my survival. But I know that they only buy these things to further emphasize how much they have stolen, how much they have used to manipulate, and to show how powerful and great they are, when really they are not so great. They are, if anything, lower than the bums.
Oh, very much so. I can agree with that. That's why I have been to ruins of the Zoroastrians. Do you know of that faith, the Zoroastrians?
Yes, yes. An interesting place and idea, if you will, that there is two gods, a god of good and a god of evil, and they're constantly fighting over our souls, and they have creatures to assist in such matters. It is an interesting thing. As another individual comes into Nagasi's shop.
Oh, she's been here for a little while. She's just been going over to the spices. She seems to just be smelling them for the moment.
There is you can assume it to be a servant. He is currently helping you, suggesting various spices, and he even has, which is kind of like the equivalent of like perfume that you cook it and you kind of mash it. You kind of mash it, and you're supposed to rub it into your skin, and it's supposed to make your skin smell more beautiful, and it's supposed to be healthy. Basically giving you the whole spiel.
Mm.
There's even hashish. There's even hashish and what have you being sold.
Is Garland present? That's the
Actually,
question.
is Garland still in the lower floor, looking at the masonry and what have you?
Yeah, yes. He hasn't came up yet. Though he's probably done choosing some things. And it's just so I guess through the door Garland would appear with a some coins threading through his hand and trying to find for Nagase and see him and two other people. One of them that he recognizes.
Madeline will just shoot him a smile, and she will just for the moment she won't say anything. She'll just walk around, and she will walk up to the shop owner and just curtsy to both of the people talking at the desk, and she'll just say, "Good evening, both of you."
Sister Madeline,
Oh.
pleasure. This is Hassan. He is a business associate of mine. But please, my dear, please come enjoy. If you wish to have coffee, I have plenty to share.
Hello,
Most
madame.
gracious of you. Hassan, it is a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well, madame.
Please, you can call me Madeline. That will more than suffice.
Of course.
I do not believe I have met you, but might I inquire as to your, she looks around, family association?
Reynald Fan, Toreador.
Ah, very good. It is a pleasure
Yeah.
to meet you. I have not seen you, but then again, I have not been back for that long. So
I have mainly been sticking to the bazaar. I am only recently returned to the city after a very, very long absence, actually. I've been here several times in the past. I had a business that I had to conduct in far off lands, let's just say.
But exactly that, dear friend. But it is always nice to come to a place of relative quietness. Dear Miss Madeleine, uh, did did Julia, did she was she at Elysium, the grand meeting?
Indeed, she was.
Good. I was quite worried when she returned home. There was a look in her eyes that is not a very good look to have.
She did upset a member of Clan Bouja, but I do not believe that this was the point. She said that you had recently come from a city not too far from here that had some rather problematic implications.
Yes, from what she had told me, it was some sort of plague. Heaven forbid, heaven and God forbid that such a thing actually happens within our city. Hopefully, it never happens, but there have been rumors, of course, that the lowly.
Manipulation subterfuge. Not look as though she's wow. Okay, yeah. Like Madeline just smiles and just I don't know if that's the right dice roller, but
That should be fine. I think.
yeah, like she has like 7 successes.
Yeah,
So like she just says, well, that would be most unfortunate. But
indeed.
we
But
do have a closer control of this city as opposed
yes,
than outlying cities that is not any real population of our kind.
yes. Though you can never be too careful. If there is such a thing to happen, well, would the guards even be able to keep them away? Sometimes the guard who feels sympathy or someone is able to give them some coin and they let in danger. That is unfortunately the way of some mortality.
Quite. Well, I do believe that this matter will be, if it becomes a thing in the city, if this spreads to the city, well, I do believe that the sheriff and his hounds will take care of it quite fast. But we
Yes,
can hope so.
yes, the illustrious sheriff Wilhelm. He and
What is the sheriff? Who is the sheriff here?
his name is Count Wilhelm Grussenberg. He is of the Bruja.
Ah, that name. Right when I heard it, I was thinking. Sorry, it just reminded me of the name of yes, the chemise. It just sounded like a Romanian name, one of those.
No, he is of apparently he is of a place. It is known as Germany, but from what I can tell, it is not a country, more of smaller places, states even, perhaps.
Oh,
the
yes.
Eastends of the Black Cross.
Yes, I've been
Yes.
there before. Run by Hardstadt, yes?
Yes, yes. Though,
I met one of his. I was in the city of Magdeburg once, up the Elbe. It's north of Prague. I met a man there actually by the name of Jürgen von Verden. I introduced myself at his court. Turns out he was, I believe, the child of Hardstadt. Very good, and I consider him. He was a respectful individual, in my opinion.
hmm.
Briefly, it was during his grand feast, and invites many
seems
up
to be-
sell some of my wares, but they don't fare well.
No, I would assume not. Apparently from the sheriff's home, it is unbearably cold at times.
There during the winter too. We covered up very well.
Though perhaps that is in contribution to his cold personality.
I would not say that. I would say if he is Bruja, if he is Bayat Moshakis, I would probably. He might not be too happy to hear that.
Well, I am certain if he is sheriff of this city, then he has better control over his.
Beast.
Yes. Mr. Garland, please come join us. Do you want some coffee? Or perhaps you have made your decisions on your items. I told you Nagasi has everything.
He just kind of surveys the room momentarily and then kind of focuses back on Nagase. It's like, yes, I've kind of decided on some wares, as he puts all the coins that he has on him at the moment into his palm and hands them over to Nagase. And no, I'm not much in the mood for coffee, but thank you.
Very well, very well. You are more than welcome to come by if you do desire coffee. I am more than welcoming for people. Miss Madeleine, did you find something of particular interest? My servant, Nahim, he said that you were looking at these spices. Did you find one of particular interest? If not, I can find one for you that would only enhance your beauties.
Well, I was thinking of something a bit different, but it would not be. It is not that pressing a priority. Neither is my beautification, but I must say that I would, if you are offering, I would love a cup of coffee. You would be
He makes one for you and he gives it to you. You can smell right away, even though there is, of course, mixing of the coffee with some like a bit of a cream. There are you can smell a hint of kind of a peppery spice to it. You can definitely smell the smell of iron blood. Perhaps that's the best way for him to drink such a thing.
She'll have a couple of steps and she'll just say, quite exquisite. So, I did meet Lady Julia. She was pleasant company. A bit different than most, but I like different.
Yes, she is quite different. She's a much more intimate person in private than she is. She likes to depict. Perhaps it is simply it is perhaps simply the things that she has gone through is perhaps why she acts the way she does.
Well, she did. She does seem capable person, I must say. She said she was a knight of sorts.
Yes, I believe, if she belonged to a group of women who was able to put back uh, a Islamic attack party or something of that nature. Their belief, Order of Hatchet, though it is for me quite amazing that they were able to push back a force that had far better training with weapons. Perhaps these men were not eloquent in their form.
What is it they say? Hell holds no fury as a woman's going. And Madeline will just have a very broad smile on her face when she says that.
Garland will kind of chime in with a little bit of just more surprise on his face. Like, I've never heard of such a thing. I'm not saying that I haven't seen women in battle, but a organized force and one that may have a title that resembles knighthood is very rare, and I'm surprised they admit to it. I could assume others would see that type of phrasing to be unnecessary.
Perhaps, but the way that she described how she lopped off a man's head with a hatchet and stuck it upon a pike would lead you to perhaps not consider insulting her. As
I would insult one like that.
Well, a member of your family, anyone willingly insulting anyone of your family should be considered a fool regardless.
as as the conversation kind of continues on, a loud clunking noise can be heard as this hulking figure. He looks to be about 7 feet, or perhaps even larger. He wearing this ordained armor. His axe is not with him, but he is kind of making a bit of noise as he enters in. Nagasi sees him and he simply states to the three of you, "Please, my apologies. Business calls." As he goes over to the gentleman, the gentleman says rather gruffly in French that he is in need of repair for his armor, and he mentions Wilhelm specifically, and Nagasi repeating back in French that the armor will be repaired and such within a day or two. And the knight gives him a rather large bag of gold before looking at all of the other people here. He kind of gives everybody not a quick glance. It's more of like a 5 to 6 second look. He kind of looks at Madeline a little bit longer, but who could resist looking at a lovely creature such as her? He then, without a word, kind of lumbers off like a giant would. And
Madeline will actually just see if she can get a word with him.
of course.
He said, "Good sir, might I speak a few words with you in private?"
he looks at you again. What is it, madame? There is much things to be done tonight.
Quite so. But I'm going to understand that my query I put with the sheriff has been maybe not solved, but at least there has been a development.
He kind of shrugs his neck a bit. From what I have been told by Count Wilhelm, that there is a home that is to be inspected. Myself and a few others are going to be going there. He will be joining us with a few others shortly after.
Very well. Very well. Thank you, and have a very good evening, and do stay safe.
Thank you, madame. You do the same as well. And he kind of lumbers over you as he kind of bends down a little bit to kind of whisper something to you. And he says, particularly, madame, that you are in the presences of such savage individuals. If you ever feel the need to be protected, you can ask Sir Lange. He will gladly protect you at no cost. And he takes your hand rather delicately, despite the rather large grip of his hand. His hand is, if he wanted to, he could crush a watermelon with it. That's how big his hand is. As he takes it rather daintily and kind of presses it to his helmet's mouth region.
I thank you very much for this fine gesture. I will keep it very much at the forefront of my mind.
Thank you, madame. Please be careful in these troubling times. As he says that, he then lumbers off out of that particular part of the merchant area as a group of knights that she has seen before, that she saw with the Count when he left. You can only assume that they are the first wave of this investigation into the Lady of Wrath.
You cannot help but, well, anyone who would look at her as she will probably just walk back into the shop, it will be quite clear that she is somewhat nervous, or at the very least concerned about something, but what exactly, who knows?
Savage. First time I've been actually called that.
I have been called worse things, son. It is, well, it is of no concern to me. He can say whatever he likes. He still gives me my business. So in a way, he is simply trying to hold some sort of honor over himself.
Chivalry, I think they call it.
Yes, quite.
Silly concept. Too romantic, in my opinion.
Well, he is French, my friend. If there is,
I know.
If there was anyone to speak of romance, it would be them.
I've heard tales of our French cousins. I've heard of the individuals like, what was his name? Prince Alexander of Paris. Yes. I've heard about him. Terrifying individual from what I've heard. He tries to bolster up, I've heard rumors that he tries to bolster up all this romanticism around him, but all it ends up being is he is like a mad child. I've heard rumors that he is well over 500 years old too. I wonder how he's dealt with living that long.
Most likely luxury and regret.
Probably. I've heard he was Roman Empire. That's how. I've heard the rumors that he was back in that time. To see all that come crumbling down, I wonder what that does to someone.
Garland will look over to Madeline and says, I hope nothing is troubling you too harshly.
Well, something is troubling me harshly, but, well, we cannot get reprieve from everything here in life, and nor should we really want to. I am quite well, though. But thank you for asking.
And he nods to that. Well, if you're free today, I think we should begin our tutoring.
Quite so. Very well.
Legacy, as he looks at Garland and Madeline, he kind of gives a rather coy smile to the mentioning of tutoring. And he simply says, Hassan, my friend, your camels, I forgot to tell you, they have been beautiful, wonderful creatures. They have been moving towards, they have been moving through the lands rather efficiently and quickly. That they have been, those that have been in need of my services and my merchantry, they have been paying rather handsomely. So it is quite wonderful.
Hassan, at that point, goes from his usual, he's being very quiet. Right when you mention that his camels are doing everything here, he just, of course they are, my friend. I mean, I always try to. I am always here trying to breed the best camels, get them the best homes. I thank you for the compliment, my friend. I thank you.
Of course, Hassan, any time, and the camel which I have used for my personal movement, she has been a darling creature. I have named her Orchid of the flower, because at night when we travel, she blooms so beautifully.
Oh, that is so good. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I am so happy. If they falter at all, I will take them back, get you a new one for no charge whatsoever.
Thank you, my friend, but I do not think that they will falter anytime soon, unless someone purposely sabotages them, though I doubt.
And if they were to, I would find that person and beat them for that.
As one should, my friend, as one should.
You see that, like, when he says that, though, he's extended his hand with his index finger out. His hand is, like, the rest of his body is quite still, aside from, like, his hand and arm, which is, like, kind of fidgeting back and forth as he says that.
You okay?
Oh, I am fine. And he just sort of, like, when he notices what you're mentioning, Garland, he just sort of looks at his hand. He grabs it and, like, pushes it downward to keep it still. I'm fine.
Well, gentlemen, please, I would wish you a very good evening. Garland, please,
You
come with me.
please, please, you two. You're young people. Please enjoy your nights and he looks at Garland, your tutoring. Am I right? I am certain a teacher such as Madeleine will teach you many things.
Garland, noticing those words, his face goes up in a mild, wry smile, and he just says, "I'll be back for the masonry sometime tomorrow." Said, "I hope the work on my blade will go well."
Yes, I will. I will send that immediately to my smith. He will have it ready for you by tomorrow night, if not earlier than that. He is quite a marvelous man with his hands.
Thank you.
He nods to you as he kind of returns to a conversation with Hassan, allowing the Madeline and Garland to make their way out.
At this point, Hassan actually inquires and says, my friend Nagasi, I do have a quick question for you.
Please.
I know. I don't know. I'm unable to guess at this point, but from all of this, at first you struck me as a bit of a Ventru, but I'm already telling Matt that is wrong in the way you spoke of them, especially. May I ask, of what lineage do you come from? What clan? What family?
He simply says, I am of the Outlander clans. The
Ah,
Gangrel, as they are called.
yes. I've met many of the Wanshan around in these parts before. I'm sorry, you just did not strike me as one immediately. Again,
That is,
it is your nobleness. It just immediately made me think Ventru, of course.
he he kind of gives a chuckle at that. Yes, but when it comes to myself and the Ventru, think of it this way. The Ventru, they will shake your hand while they polish the blade behind their back. Whereas with me, I will show you the polished blade, and you'll happily buy it. No.
And speaking of buying, I would like to inquire about one of the medallions, the religious iconography. Do you happen to have a necklace by chance? Something along the lines of possibly with the crescent moon and the star. I would like to buy. I've been looking for one to give to my well. At this point, I could say he is like a child. Amir, the Mosharid who I mentioned earlier.
He mentions to one of his servants in Arabic, and he quickly nods and goes to another room and kind of brings out a necklace. It's it's very much what it is that Hassan is looking for with the crescent moon and the star, but it's made of like a very, very nice silver. It's kind of like almost kind of like a platinum silver, if you will. Kind of shines like an actual moon.
I need to make a roll on this one because I would possibly be infatuated by that because religious iconography, it's one of the arts that he loves especially. So let me do that quickly. Probably. What is the difficulty for that? I forget actually.
I think it's like an 8. I think.
8.
I think.
I'm gonna just look that up. I'm gonna look that up quickly. I do have the book open. All right, there we go. Toreador. Well, almost there. And Adobe Acrobat is going crazy on me. Of course it is. Come on. Go up. No, that's the Kia Ceed. Not at all what I want. Almost there. Right by Venture. I think it's up a few more pages. It's the Jamise, it's the Tremere, and the Toreador. Weakness. It's actually a self-control in difficulty 5.
Okay.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure. I knew 8 sounded a little too high. Let me just roll that. What's my self-control rating? I think it was decent. No, it isn't. I have 2 dice. Oh, this will be great.
Well, you never know. You might do good.
Oh, I did.
See? Told you.
2 successes. You see, just all of a sudden, like, Hassan's eyes light up, though, still like no other. He is still like, this is a beautiful necklace to him, and he just starts going like the intricacies. He's pointing it out, all of it out, like each and every little like chain, a tiny chain that's like holding it together. Just the grandeur of the metal. If he was not, if you had any doubts that he was Toreador before, this truly, I would think, solidifies evidence for it. This is not a Malkavian pretending to be a Toreador. This is a Toreador. And he's just like, he says, as he's like looking at this, he pulls out a coin purse. And he pulls out several, he pulls out a good handful, I'd say about 15 silver coins. And he's like, this, I have, for this craftsmanship, here, my friend, here. And he puts the money in your hand. It's probably too much. I don't know how much this would normally be, but that, 15 silver coins, especially in this time period.
Yes, as Nagasi sees that, he initially kind of returns it. No, my friend, that is far too much for such a thing. I cannot do that for the man who...
No. You paid too much for camels. I have to pay too much for necklace.
Now, come, my friend. 15. No. 10 is more than enough for you. That is more than enough.
I'll lower it to 13. That's my final offer.
As they haggle, Nagasi...
Trying to haggle for less.
He nods. Very well, my friend. I will gladly accept that. Thank you. And he...
By the way...
takes...
Sorry.
Yes.
Are there still any servants in the room, or have they left after while they are these ghouls, or these like have they been here during the conversation?
They are ghouls.
Okay.
They are.
Well, because of that, you take the money, of course, and suddenly from behind you notice that someone is standing there who you did not see before.
As
it is a horrifying looking thing. And for a moment, I don't know how you would react to this, because you only see its head at first, because it's coming out of a dark corner. A creature, it looks like it has to be standing up, but it's the head of a black hyena coming out of the darkness with glowing yellow eyes. And as you see that, I mean, it looks almost like, I don't know if your character has any form of mythology, like local, like something like Hearth Wisdom or something. But if you were, did he grow up in this area?
No, he's from Ethiopia.
Oh, that still works, actually. I think that would still work, because it looks like a hyena man, which are lycanthropes, like a shape changer. This thing is coming out of the darkness up towards Hassan, like right in back of him. But even more terrifying is the thing's body is completely pale white. It has clothing, some strand of a loincloth over its body, but its veins are the only like distinct coloration on its body. It's completely hairless, like below its neck, and chest, torso, legs, arms, completely hairless. All it's wearing is a loincloth, and the skin is so pale that the only distinct coloration that you see are its red veins. And it's just this horrifying looking creature in every semblance of the word. But all of a sudden, Hassan sort of almost like he knows, he just turns around and he sees it and he sees, "Oh, my friend, you are here. Look at what I bought for you." "Thank you, Hassan. Thank you. Come here. And without a shred of fear in his mind, he places the necklace around this creature, just around its neck, and he says, "Oh, Nagasi, this is my good friend Amir. Amir, this is my good friend Nagasi. Do not worry, he is of the blood like I am. It is a pleasure to meet you."
Likewise, myself. Dear Hassan and Amir, I have to return something from the bottom area. Please, please help yourselves to my coffee or what have you. He gets up and he kind of moves between Hassan towards the bottom floor area.
And Hassan just look. Hold on one second. My dog is going crazy. Hassan just says, well, no, Amir actually says, "Hassan, I came to tell you we are having problems back in the bazaar." "What sort of problems?" "That those unruly brutes are back." "Brutes? That gang?" Oscar, quiet. Sorry about my dog. And he just sort of looks almost like if you look at Hassan's face, he twitches a bit at that. Like you see his arm also start twitching as well. And as it happens, he turns around to Nagasi and just says, "Nagasi, I will need to be going now. I have some business to attend to back at my bazaar."
You simply hear, "Yes, please be careful on your way out." And as they leave, I guess that will be the scene.